So last Sunday we talked about how the divine feminine principle of nature, where all ideas and possibilities exist as potential, manifests our desires and our dreams based upon our beliefs. So this morning I want to talk about how our beliefs get there. So the divine masculine and the divine feminine are like a penny, heads and tails. You can't have one without the other. Isn't there a song like that? So the objective, or the conscious intellect, which is the divine masculine principle, moves through the subjective, or the creative, or the divine feminine principle of nature. And this creates a movement of energy within the creative field. And the power of that energy is equal to the embodiment of the thought set in motion. When I first got into this teaching, I heard a lot of things that were different, like there is a power for good within us and we can use it. It is done unto us as we believe. And so the next subject that came up was tithing. And I was broke. I had $5 in my pocket. I had just crashed through the double doors at the Fort Lauderdale Center for Spiritual Living after a rather colorful divorce. Maybe some of you have been there, maybe not. So I figured when the collection plate went by, what the heck, I'm going to throw it all in, let's see what happens. And I went to the beach the next morning to meditate, which is one of my favorite places. And a big wave crashed over me. And what do you think I found in the sand? $5. So we are working with a universal creative power that wants to express. And it does that by means of each of us. Since our beliefs are always changing, as soon as it descends into our experience, it ascends back out, which is what is depicted by the science of mind circles on either side of me. So the evolutionary process is always ongoing. It outpictures whatever is in our subjective beliefs into our objective experience, which is why when I put the $5 into the plate, I got the $5 back. Shaken together, pressed down, and running over. We cannot outgive the Great Spirit. So what we think, how we act, and what we are to become depends upon what we choose. And this is how to use it, which is the title of my talk this morning. And that is based on the 4th chapter in the Science of Mind textbook. So think of it like a salad bar. I experienced an amazing salad bar this past week. If you go in with your plate and you only put on lettuce, where is the fullness in your choice? I saw artichokes, I saw tomatoes, I saw portobello mushrooms, but it's up to us to choose from that unlimited source. And then that becomes our experience. So it is through the power of the mind that we access and utilize that divine masculine principle. So our beliefs, as well as the race beliefs or the collective beliefs, create the world around us. So you can imagine how important it is to continue to envision a world that works for everyone. And so I'd like to share with you this morning another declaration of principle. And I'm going to ask you to say it with me. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. And if you would like a copy of the Declaration of Principles, they are available on the information table. Wigliva, which is pictured behind me, is a sacred rock formation that guards the Havasupai village. And it depicts a woman, a man, and a man carrying a child. Legend has it that long, long ago, the canyon began to run short on resources. And as a result, the tribe had to split in two. And there were 3 members of the tribe who were chosen to leave the canyon. And they grew sad, and they turned back for one last look, only to be turned into stone. That story may seem familiar to some of you. So when we can change our consciousness, which is simply the sum total of all of our beliefs, false conditions, no matter how big or how small, can fall away. The evolutionary process is always forward. So we don't dig up the seed. We don't look back. We don't doubt that the work is already being done for us within the creative field. The science of mind is not a rose-tinted spectacle teaching where we make believe that everything is okay. Wrong conditions do exist. But what's important to understand is that they cannot remain unless there is a subjective belief that supports them. And sometimes our beliefs are unknown to us. There is no doubt about the immutability and the availability of the law. It is operating at all times and in all places as an incredible, powerful force of creation. But the possibility of our expression as human beings must flow through the power of the mind. Which brings me to the second declaration of principles that I'd like to share with you this morning, and I'm asking you to say it with me aloud. We believe in the control of conditions through the power of this mind. So if we plant a negative idea within the collective consciousness, for example, there's nothing we can do about that, and we continue to praise that idea by not taking any action, how can we create a world that works for everyone? It is our responsibility to engage in the creative process. And just like the darkness disappears when it is exposed to the light, the power of right thinking negates everything unlike itself. Dr. Ernest Holmes says, it is like the sunlight of eternal truth, bursting through the clouds of obscurity and bathing all of life in its glory. And Nez, who is a member of the Navajo tribe, says the Grand Canyon isn't just a canyon. It isn't just a river. The canyon is living people, like the Navajo, Hopi, Zuni, Hualapai, and Havasupai. And as a skilled tracker and a skilled archaeologist, Nez reads stories told by the traces that are left on the land. And he says that if you let that landscape talk to you, it will pull you, it will guide you. As Native people, we've been doing that for thousands of years. So all the power in the universe is awaiting our discovery. It is only through our conscious thinking that we can activate that divine masculine principle. And when we do, our individual as well as our collective experience shifts. When we have a night that is consumed by the shadows that Aretha Franklin sang about in the inspirational song, and we believe that the principle can't create through us, because the law is immutable, it simply works by appearing not to work. So we find our way out of the darkness through our faith. The river was deep, I didn't falter. The mountain was high, I still believed. The valley was low, it didn't stop me. Which brings me to the third declaration of principle. We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny, for we understand that the life of man is God. And whether you call that Buddha, Allah, the primordial substance, Alan Cohen likes to call it she, what's important is that you call it. The time has come for us to express a greater degree of livingness. And the practice of the science of mind empowers us to answer the divine calling, to express that creative energy that is within us. And we do this by using the power of the mind. And that, my beloveds, is how we use it. Thank you, and namaste.